Hi there, Ronnie here, coming at you with a video. Interesting question, or sort of conversation that was happening with someone on Twitter, talking about snakes and ladders, and was it a game? Is there anything to learn from it? And I understand that question very much. Almost every other game has some skill involved. Some choice to be made, some strategy to be had. Some of them try to get rid of the luck component almost completely. Come back to that in a second. But Snakes and Ladders does none of those things. With Snakes and Ladders, you roll a die, and you move. There's no skill. There's no strategy. You are completely at the mercy of the snakes and ladders on the board. Or chutes and ladders for people who know it as that. You're completely at their mercy. There's someone who has been playing that game regularly for 50 years and someone who has never played it before and it's the first ever game. They have an equal chance of winning. There's no advantage, there's no skill, no strategy, nothing. And because of that, people have suggested that Snakes and Ladders really isn't a game because there's no skill to learn, there's no evolution. And I respectfully disagree. I don't think the game itself can teach us anything. There is no skill or strategy. And they're absolutely right about that. If we're just talking about the game, is there any skill set that you can then move on to another game with, other than learning to roll a die and move a piece? No, not really. But there are two things I think that Snakes and Ladders can teach. And the second one I'm going to mention, probably better than any other game going, because of its very nature. But the first one is a reminder that there's always a bigger fish. To quote Qui-Gon Jinn in Phantom Menace, there's always a bigger fish. In any game other than Snakes and Ladders, there is skill, strategy, choices to be made. And you can sort of build a particular strategy of what you want to do to win the game. But what Snakes and Ladders not so much teaches but reminds us is that no matter how skillful the game, how strategic the game, there will always be an element of luck, of chance, of circumstance. You could be playing a card game and you just can't get the card you want. Now people will say, oh, but the whole point of a strategy is to work with the cards you have, and it's true. But sometimes you just don't get that one card that will just knit everything together perfectly. Meanwhile, your opponent is just banging the cards that they need together. They get the card that they want. Or a worker placement game. You've got your strategy set up. You know the space you're going to put your meeple on, and some bugger comes along and takes that space from you. That throws a wrench in your plans. So the first thing that Snakes and Ladders can teach or remind us is that no matter how good you think you are, how good your skill is, how finessed your strategy is, there will always be an element of luck involved in a game. And to expect that. The other thing, however, that I think Snakes and Ladders can teach, not the game itself, but you'll see what I mean. The game, as I said, no skill, no strategy, anyone at any time can win it. And because of that, because it is a great leveler, what it can teach you, more than any other game, because of its very nature, is how to win and lose with grace. I've said before in other videos, the 3 things I hate when playing games. 3 kinds of players I hate: cheats, bad losers, bad winners. I hate them all. I hate people who go in a huff when they lose. I hate people who get arrogant and obnoxious when they win. I don't like it. But Snakes and Ladders levels the playing field completely. If you win, it has nothing to do with how good you are. You just got lucky. If you don't win, it has nothing to do with how good you are. You just got unlucky. At the end of a game of Snakes and Ladders, whoever gets to that 100 spot first, yeah, you can feel happy that you won, but you didn't really win. You haven't really won. In any traditional sense, you just got the luck of the ring, the rub of the green. The dice were favourable. Pure anarchy on a board. And it is pure anarchy on a board. Not only do you have the dice, you've got all these Snakes and Ladders tearing you a new one. Get the right roll, get the right number, and up a ladder you go. Get a roll, find yourself at the head of a snake, down you go. Utterly infuriating at times. So what Snakes and Ladders, I think, can teach better, because of that anarchic nature, is at the end of the game you can turn round, shake the hand of your opponent and say, good game. And that mindset of not being a poor loser, of not being a bad winner, because you've learned from playing the kind of rampant anarchy that is Snakes and Ladders, that winning and losing is just something that happens in a game. I've always said to people, I've said to my daughter, so the thing about games, if you're a good player, whether you're actually good at the game or not, if you're a good gamer, you're polite, you're respectful of your other gamers. If you win, you shake the person at the hand and you say good game. If you lose, you shake the person by the hand and you say good game. if you show that the enjoyment of the game and the playing of the game and doing your best, if you show that and you show that you are respectful in both victory and defeat, you'll always find a place at tables. Cheats won't find places at tables because people don't want to play with people who cheat. Bad losers, people don't want to play with people who go in a huff or start effing and blinding about, losing a game. They don't really want to play a game with bad winners either. They don't want people being obnoxious and arrogant and ha ha ha, yeah, got you, ha. I mean, you can do a certain amount of that with friends, just ribbing them, but there's a point you cross a line. You're just becoming obnoxious rather than, ribbing people. So, can Snakes and Ladders teach us anything about skill and strategy? No, it can't. It simply can't. It's not a game designed to do that. It's a game of pure anarchy and a board. But what it can teach us is to accept that no matter how good we are, an element of luck will always play a part in any game. And it does that by showing the extreme of that, of being a game of entire luck. But it can also teach us to be good gamers, to win and lose with grace, to be respectful to our other gamers. Because if we can go into a board game with the same mindset as we do when we play Snakes and Ladders, that we might win, we might not, but as long as we give a good account of ourselves, we play the game properly, and we're respectful to our other players, then everyone's going to have a good time regardless of the result. Now, if you're playing in a tournament, obviously you want to win. But otherwise, winning is nice. Don't get me wrong. Like to win. But the playing of the game is more important. And if you can do that, you'll enjoy games all the more. So, next time someone says, fancy a game of Snakes and Ladders, don't be too hesitant to, before saying no. Try it and use it as a learning experience, that you can take that mindset to other games. And you may find you enjoy Snakes and Ladders just that little bit more.